What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Cervantes podcast. Joining me today to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Month and phenomenal AAPI Women in Communications is rising junior video television major studying at Hofstra University, program director of music at 88.7 FM WRHU, and member of Zeta Phi Eta Fraternity, Hofstra's pre-professional co-ed communications fraternity, Jade. How are you doing today, Jade?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be on the Cervantes podcast. It's a dream come true.
Thank you so much for being here. Some background information for everyone. The month of May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Month, which is an annual celebration that recognizes the historical and cultural contributions of individuals and groups of Asian and Pacific Islander descent to the United States. The AAPI umbrella term includes cultures from the entire Asian continent, including East, Southeast, and South Asia, and the Pacific Islands of Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. According to a 2022 NPR article titled The Story Behind Asian Pacific American Heritage and Why It's Celebrated in May by Rena Torchinsky, the author noted that May 7th, 1843 marks the arrival of the first Japanese immigrants to the United States, and May 10th, 1869, or Golden Spike Day, recognizes the completion of the first transcontinental railroad in the US, which had significant contributions from Chinese workers. What is your background, and did you grow up always having a sense of pride in your Asian identity?
I am half Chinese. My dad came from China when he was about my age, and my mom was born and raised in New Jersey. So I'm mixed race. I'm half Chinese and half mixed European, I guess. And growing up mixed race, especially, was definitely like an interesting experience. You know, like I feel like I speak for a lot of mixed people when I say like never quite fit in with the white kids, never quite fit in with the Asian kids. So like growing up, it was always tough to like find your way. But the way I was like brought up was mostly like American. Every year we celebrated Chinese New Year and that sort of thing. But as we grew up, we never really were as in touch with our culture. My brother and I mean.
Okay.
We always regretted never learning Chinese. Like it's something we always wish we could have learned from a young age.
Right.
It was just not something that our family was really focused on. But now as adults, especially like in our modern times, like things are very different now. We are definitely more in touch. We try our best to, eat more of the Chinese food, like not like Chinese food, but like the real Chinese food.
The real Chinese food.
Everyone eats Chinese food, but we went for dim sum last week, and that's like something we never did when we were younger, and now we make it more of a regular thing. But growing up, definitely, I knew I was Chinese. I knew kind of as much as like a kid can understand what it means to be a Chinese person. But I didn't fully understand the weight of it until I got older. I just knew I was different, and it was because of my race, if that makes sense. And now growing up, it's sort of been learning to embrace that and understand it better, I think.
Did you grow up knowing about and celebrating AAPI Heritage Month?
I only knew about it until like up until last year is when I like knew it was a thing. I had no clue. It wasn't something that we were taught in school. Like I don't even think my family knew about it until recently. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I like, and you're like reading that stuff in the beginning, and like I was like, I didn't know that. I just thought they chose May. Like that's so cool. Like I never learned about any of this stuff like growing up in school. Like
that's so crazy.
That's for like Women's History Month, and like that was it. Like we like never really learned. We did Black History Month like a little bit, mostly Women's History Month. We like focused on. But yeah, I had no idea it was a thing.
That's
I didn't even
so
know the phrase
crazy.
AAPI until last year. I was just like I was like, oh, I don't know what that means. Sorry, the dog's barking. Oh my god.
No worries. No, but that's crazy. I was gonna say I knew about it for a while. But I like more recent, like I want to say maybe high school.
Yeah, wow.
And
yeah,
we just graduated from college, so I would say high school.
Wow,
but that's so crazy, and I think that goes to maybe the curriculum and who's deciding what's important. And we're spending so much time. I always say, almost every episode I always say it, but like we spend so much time on one particular history, and then we spend 5 minutes on this, 5 minutes on this group of people, 5 minutes, and it's like
exactly. That's such a great way to put it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember even just like in like elementary school, like I had like zero like non-white teachers, even like
wow. Okay.
in high school too. Not come to think of it, yeah. Only in college did I started seeing like Asian American professors, I think. But I mean that just like goes to show like it's just not in the curriculum. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like people should know their history and know, because I feel like when you know your history, that also adds to the sense of pride that you will have for your people, your culture, and so on and so forth. You know, like
1000%.
once I started learning about like Black history and like I don't know everything, but once I started learning like more stuff, like oh my god, we built the White House. I didn't know that. Like I was like,
I
oh
didn't know
shit,
that's
like
sick.
you know, I didn't know that till maybe 3 years ago, or just like little
Wow.
little gems here and there. It's like wow,
Yeah,
like okay, we're more than just this bad thing that happened for a long time. We're more than just what they say in the media. Like, and you start to oh like I feel good. So hopefully, and I feel like it's
exactly.
the same for Asian
A
people,
thousand
Pacific
percent, a
Islander.
thousand
Yeah,
percent.
you
I
know.
I remember as a kid, we did like sometimes like do stuff for Chinese New Year. Like when I was like in preschool, my mom came in and like read a book about Chinese New Year, and we like did like a craft, and it was in the newspaper, and we had like a clipping
Oh, that's
somewhere.
so
But
cool.
like even like growing up, every so often we would like have like a day in like elementary school, and we would talk about Chinese New Year. Like you do feel a sense of pride. You're like, I'm special because we're talking about this thing that like pertains to like me and my culture. Like these are my people who are doing this. And like it may like not mean a lot to other people who like are just learning about it for the first time, but like I remember those days like very well. And like you really do feel like a sense of pride like talking about that.
Yeah, and I feel like that pride is so important because even though we even though Asian people aren't properly represented in media, and we need more like main characters of Asian descent, and sometimes there's stereotypes and the way the media portrays is not always like accurate. You still have to be proud of where you come from despite all of that, and it's hard, much easier said than done, but you have to be proud of where you come from because that's God. If you believe in God, like God made you for a reason. You're special, and Asian people have contributed so much to this country and this world, so it would be a shame to like downplay it just because Jason and Becky don't like what you eat at lunch.
Jason and Becky.
Or
You're
don't
so
approve
right though.
of
You bring up
you
such a
know
great point. I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely making strides, but there's like still work to be done, like as you said. But like that's exactly why it's important. Like what you just said, like but like that's it. Like, that's like the money answer.
thank you. And like Kamala Harris, she's half Asian, which I think is so dope. So there's representation in,
Yes,
in like politics and government there. So yeah, definitely strides. We love to see.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Hofstra University has a student-run on-campus television network called Hofstra Entertainment Access Television, or the Heat Network, which has 5 different shows: Thursday Night Live, Hofstra Today, Sports Beat, 2 Weeks Notice, and Director's Cut. On LinkedIn, you recently announced that you accepted the position of Associate General Manager of the Heat Network. Congratulations! What are you
Thank
most
you.
excited for most when you started this position in the fall 2022 semester?
I'm really excited. I haven't done a lot of work for it just yet. I only recently accepted it, and then I'm really gonna start towards the end of the summer and the fall. But I've already been like an avid member of the network, just crewing on shows. I'm in the cast of one. Um, and so I'm just excited to like get my feet more wet, like delve more into
Yes.
it. Like what I do now is like crewing on shows and working on them, but like to like come into like more like the important decisions like within the network. It's really exciting.
That's so awesome. And did were you chosen or did you apply for this?
I applied and then it was an election within
Oh, nice.
the like I don't know like the terminology like the like other management did like an election.
Oh, okay, like the e-board,
Yeah,
the
it was
okay,
like the producers. Yeah,
the producers.
yeah.
And when you have this position, are you what are you going to be overseeing? Is it more so like the technical stuff behind each show, casting, the content?
So like within like the like SGA terms, I'm technically I believe the treasurer. And then for my senior year, I'll be the president. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
essentially being like a I don't know, just like the associate general manager, like managing, like overseeing
Like
kind of like
delegating.
yeah. I'm gonna be running the social media. I'll be helping the current general manager Megan run our what's it called, the Get Involved HU page.
Okay.
working with recruitment, things like that, running like network
Oh,
events like general interest meetings, like that sort of thing.
okay.
Yeah, budgeting, fundraising, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. I thought you were gonna
Yeah.
be like more so like technical. Maybe that's another position I'm thinking of, but more so
That's
like technical,
yeah, that's the program director. That's what
which
they
is
do. They're
what
the one.
Zach does.
That's what Zach used to do. That's what Christian does now, and what Olivia is the associate for.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got it. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
well, I'm
that's like the
thinking.
four e-board members. It's the general manager, the program director, associate general manager, associate program director.
Yes. Okay. 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 That's what I was thinking. That's
It's a
so
little
cool
confusing. Like no
though.
one really like breaks it down ever. You just kind of have to like figure it out. I don't know. Like I didn't know that until like very recently.
That's cool though. Will there be a show in particular that you're looking? I know you're on Thursday Night Live. Will you stay on Thursday Night Live? And will there be a show in particular you're looking forward to working with the most?
I will hopefully be staying on Thursday Night Live. I
Okay.
believe they do like re-auditions every year, so I'm hoping I get to keep my spot.
Fingers
Um,
crossed.
but no, there's no show in particular. I always love like crewing all the shows. My favorite show to crew is probably Director's Cut. Don't tell anybody. Oh my god.
Okay.
I
Yeah, it's
love
just
the
us. Just us
it's
listening.
just that it's like I just like the vibes. I don't know. And of course I love TNL night because it's like less stressful for me because I'm not on the crew. Like my friends are all on the crew and they're running around like, oh my god, like this mic's not working. I don't know. And I'm just like, I just sit down, like read stuff off the teleprompter. Like it's kind of chill. But no,
Yeah.
really all of them though. I just love no matter what show you're doing, like the environment and is always just very like I don't know, there's such a community, I feel. Yeah, and every show has its own different like vibe almost like on show.
Yeah. But it's
Um
all positive, like you said, which
it's
I
it's always
agree.
good. Yeah, it's just like,
I
like Tina was always like, oh, like we have to get this done. And like sports beat is like, hey, we're here to talk about sports. Hey, like it's chill. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so I like all of
knew
them for
that.
that exact reason.
I wish more people knew that because I think coming in, I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm not film, so I can't do director's cut. I don't know about sports, so I can't do sports
Anyone
beat.
can crew on
But it's like,
any show. Oh my
no,
gosh,
yeah.
yes.
You don't even need to like it depends on your position, obviously. Like you can't be like talent and not like know about sports if you're
Like, you know,
working
like, I
sports
don't know
beat.
sports to be on sports be kind of thing. But yeah, like
But you could totally be production manager, any type of crew, like a camera, audio, like
yeah,
you can
absolutely.
still
You have to
work on
like
something but
pass
not know.
certain classes to crew certain positions, but like I believe anyone can be like a PA or a tech assist, like and like still
Yeah.
like have a hand in like putting on the show. Don't quote me on that. I don't know the rules 100%.
Yeah, but like totally. And I think I'm glad that I didn't like pigeonhole myself my junior and senior year to like, okay, I'm only gonna stay Thursday Night Live because these are the only people I know. This is what I'm used to. Like, no, let me branch out, let me do some packages for these people and do work on this. So
Absolutely.
very diverse, very positive environment. And I like that we have options. It's not just like one show. I like that people can choose, but you can totally work on all of them if you want.
Yeah, anyone can find anything that like works with their interests.
On Friday, May 13th of this year, WRHU Hofstra University's three-time Marconi Award-winning radio station had its annual banquet to celebrate and honor the work of exceptional broadcasting by the students who work at the radio station over the last 10 months. Jade, in particular, won the Leadership Excellence Award. How did it feel being recognized for your amazing work?
It felt really good. Yeah, I've been on the management team at WRHU since early January. Um, and it's really been just like a phenomenal experience being able to sort of refine my like management and leadership skills through that, and to be recognized for what I thought was like, I was like, I think I'm doing a kind of good job, and to be recognized for that, to be told by the upper management like, hey, like we really appreciate the work you're doing. It was just so special. And being surrounded by all my peers and my friends at the station, it was just a really great environment, and to see them also recognized for the amazing work that they do was really special. Yeah.
No, that's so awesome. And I love that, like, there's not a lot of people that do it, but like the fact that you do WRHU and the Heat Network, radio and TV, you've done like production assistant, technical stuff, camera, and then you're killing it also in the radio department at Hofstra. That's so cool. I didn't think, I remember like 2 years ago, I was like, you can do both? Like, that's so
There aren't
cool.
a
And
lot of us, but yeah, I'm sort of like bridging the gap almost. Like it's very fun to like see like how people do things differently at each org, and kind of like incorporate that like hey, like this org does it like this, like maybe we should like think about that. Yeah, it's really fun sort of seeing like each side of the coin. I don't know.
Yeah, and like you can tell that like, you know, like you really love it. You're not just doing it for like a cool LinkedIn post or like your resume.
I mean, the
You
LinkedIn
really
post is great. You know, I love
it
LinkedIn.
helps. It helps
I use
networking.
LinkedIn more than like Instagram.
No, as
um,
you should. But it's so cool and it's inspiring because like okay, like other people of color are, you know, doing their thing and you've been at Hofstra for such a short period of time and you've accomplished so much. It's like, oh, okay, like
thank
if this
you.
person can do it, they've been in the same classes as me, you know, they're super nice, very smart. Like, okay, let me try and be as good as this person and
Oh my
try and, you know,
gosh.
work hard. Yes, of
Thank you so
course.
much. It really means a lot hearing that. Yeah, yeah, I just love what I do. I don't know, like I don't like sitting still. Like I always have to like be doing something. And that was my motivation. Like that's all I did. That's all it was.
Really, yeah. Is it difficult having leader because now instead of just being like a member of Heat and WRHU, you have leadership positions in both. So is it difficult? Well, you didn't start the Heat associate general manager position yet, but is it difficult like having that work balance and like doing schoolwork as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was something I like worked on this semester. Being a member of both in the fall was already difficult, and then becoming a manager for this semester was definitely something that was difficult at first. But the way that I've kind of like not like figured it out, the way that I've kind of looked at it is like most of the work I do at WRHU like happens during the day. I think it was like my day job because it is a job. Um,
Right.
so like that's like my day job. I do my classes like in between, and like between classes I'll like do the work I have to do. And then like at night is Heat. That's like my like extracurricular. I like it's like I don't know, it's like my day job and like my like night job, I guess. Like it's like
Okay, and you break it up like that.
yeah, because like normally they don't like intertwine. Like I rarely ever had to do anything for Heat during the day. And if it was on weekends. Then WRHU like for my job at least, like not a lot happens at night unless I'm doing like an Islanders game. Like that's obviously at night, but it's not, that's like an extra thing, you know. So kind of like breaking it up, sort of like how I see it, like almost in my schedule, is what made it all make sense.
That's cool. That's cool. So
Yeah.
you're never like, oh, I can't do Heat because I'm doing WRHU, or I can't do WRHU because I'm doing Heat. Like it's separate. You have like
Very
time allotted.
rarely.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. And what do you do for the Islanders? I saw that, but I couldn't.
Yeah. So I am essentially a radio engineer for the New York Islanders. So it depends on like what game, but I'll either be operating the board for like ESPN's coverage and airing their commercials, or operating the board for the like regular coverage that's going on like ESP or not ESPN, Sirius XM, and like wherever we're broadcasting that day, and on 88.7. The latter is much more difficult because you're like communicating constantly with the play-by-play commentators, um and you're like keeping track of like the timing and like that sort of thing, and you're playing like all of the different intermissions is what you're also in charge of. um
Wow,
yeah,
that's
that's
so
really fun.
cool.
The season's over, but next season I'm very excited to continue doing that. That's like definitely like one of the coolest things that I do like in general
That's
for
so
any of
cool.
the orgs.
I didn't know that you were interested in sports. So that's I didn't know you were like a big sports person.
I got into sports like on accident almost. Um, but everything just kind of like fell into place. One day I was a producer for a music show called Airwave last year, and one day I get a text from one of the at the time WRHU EV members. Shout out Max Sacco, he changed my life. And he said like, Jay, like I really need someone to do this like interview with this lacrosse college lacrosse player. Like no one else can do, like I need to do it. And I was like, are you sure you want me to do this? Like I don't know anything about lacrosse. Like I know you want me. And he's like, Jay, there's no one else. Like I need you to do it. And I was like, okay. So I came in, I did the interview, and he was like, oh, like come to it's airing later tonight, come to the show and like hang out. And I was like, okay. I went to the show and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is like nothing like what I do for music. And then I came back the next week, they had me engineer. Came back the following week, they had me like on a panel. I had no idea what I was talking about. They said like, this is the question, like this is the question you're gonna ask, and like this is like you can like make a decision based on these things. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll like say this. I had no idea what I was
Wow.
talking about. And then that summer I was shadowing for the position I'm in now, and I was watching people do Islanders games last season, the Islanders were in the playoffs, so the season went later. So over the summer, people were doing like these really intense games. I was like, oh, that seems cool. So in the fall, I continued doing like the stuff I was doing for sports already, which was like engineering every so often. And then I started putting in for Islanders games, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. I really enjoy like the like high stress environment, which sounds weird, but just
No, but
like
that's
having like, all that pressure, it's like do or die. Like if you screw up, like you can't go back, like you just gotta keep going. Um that's what I like about like all these things. It's like the
like
very like
live production. Yeah, you can't go
yeah.
back and edit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool. So that's like, I think that's a gem right there. People listening, like, do not be afraid to take risks and like put yourself out there. And even though like the person came to you, but like don't be afraid
No,
to take
if I
risks.
said no, like, I don't know.
You know, you
Yeah,
may
definitely.
not
I think
be,
my life would
yeah.
look very different. And like now I'm like considering like going into a career like in sports broadcasting, not like the broadcaster, like more tech, but yeah, and like I would have never thought of myself to be like the kind of person to look into doing sports at all. Now I like watch sports. It's crazy. Oh my God.
That's so cool. That's so good. Yeah, and it's like even if you may not know something about a particular subject, still apply for that job or apply for that internship or apply for
Literally.
that role in your school's campus if you have a radio station or some type of heat network adjacent thing. That's so cool. That's a gem. That's a gem for sure.
Absolutely. What
What do
was
you
that?
enjoy most about working at WRHU?
Well, that's a great question. The people, the community, like everyone wants to help everyone to succeed. Like if you're like I mean it when I say every single person has a desire to better the station for those that come after them. Like if I'm like in one of the studios and like having trouble, I could grab any single person from that office and say like, hey, can you help me with this thing? And I can guarantee you every single one would say yes. It like there would never be like, no, not right now. Like it like they would help me and like walk me through it like step by step. Everyone wants to help everyone. And that's something I've never seen at any other place that I've worked. And I really just think it goes to show like just the environment that we sort of create in the community. I think that's really special. I think that's like something that's like so special about the station in general. Just everyone, I don't want to say everyone loves everyone because like obviously that's impossible, but it's just like there's a respect for everyone, like despite like differing opinions or whatever. Yeah, and it's just like creating we all have the same goal in mind, which is like of course to get a job, but also like station wise to make it better for the people who come after us is really because
For
like it
sure.
looked like when I came in, like it looks like nothing like that. Like I like to think it's for the better.
Wow. Okay. No, you see that. You see that. I think I was in the spring 22 training class. Jade was one of the people in charge of that class, and I was intimidated at first when I would like have to go to the station and maybe like learn how to do something and ask for help. And I was like, oh, like I don't know, like these are big shots. Like I don't know if I should ask for help, but it's like no, an Instagram DM or just pulling them in the hallway, like, hey, can you show me how to do this? And to see how respectful and how nice most people are. I can't say everyone because that's not always
Of
true, but
course.
most people are. It's like wow, like people really care. And like when I was studying for the test, and you got and each e-board member would like study with us. They all wanted us to see us pass and like win, and I love that. And I like that environment. My parents always said like people don't have to like you, but they must respect you, and you see that at WRHU.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You see that.
definitely.
Why was it important for you to get involved at the station, going back to WRHU?
Well, I was a freshman during like the COVID year. I started college in fall of 2020. And so there were a lot of restrictions on like what was in person, like limits on how many people could be like involved in a certain thing. So it was a bit more difficult, especially as a freshman, to get involved with Heat because there was people getting hours for RTV 14 and like upperclassmen were given priority, which like makes sense. So it was
Right.
harder to get put on crews, but I still wanted to get involved in some way. So I applied to the radio station the summer before my freshman year. Um,
Okay.
I was interested in it, and then that ended up being I couldn't be more grateful that I made that decision because I didn't realize that it would be hard to crew until I got to college. So that was sort of my way of like still being in person and getting that hands-on experience outside of the classroom. It wasn't like what my major is, but it was still like in the same realm. So I like learned all of that, like mastered that my freshman year, and then like sophomore year is really when I started doing stuff with Heat, when a lot of the restrictions were lifted. Um, yeah, so I
Nice.
joined WRHU.
Yes, yeah, and it is important for people like listening who are gonna graduate from high school in a couple of weeks. if you do decide to go to Hofstra or really any school, get involved in your extracurriculars early. Get involved
Absolutely.
early, and you're not like me, like waiting till like second, third, fourth year, trying to get involved in things. Um, do stuff early so that you can improve and like grow in the radio station or crewing a TV show or doing film. Because I think that experience that we get outside the classroom really helps. Because even though I am
Thousand.
learning a lot in the classroom, like, oh my God, like, 44 was very helpful, 24, 64, like all those classes, all these production classes that we took, those were great. But I feel like you really kind of learn what the real world is like when you do Thursday Night Live, when you do a comedy show or a sports show or the
A
Hofstra
thousand
Today, our
percent.
news show,
1,000%.
or even the radio station, like learning that, audio aspect of it. So it's so true. And you need that hands-on experience when you are applying for an internship, for sure.
Absolutely. It's like you're learning like the fundamentals, the basics in class, and you're applying it elsewhere. Like I feel like I've seen just in my classes, like people I don't normally see on crews, tend to like not be as like on it as those I see at every single show.
Yes.
Like it's just the reality
Yes.
because they're getting more practice.
Right. Like they're just doing it, for 2 hours in class, whereas we're doing it for like
Like
sometimes
6 hours the
6 hours.
following night. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
exactly.
And also someone I forgot, I kept saying, like, I kept apologizing when I would mess up. And I don't know if it was you or just like friends were like, oh no, like it's okay. Surrounds like you want to mess up here and not at a job. And I was like,
Someone
oh my
told me
God, I
that
didn't think
too. It's
about it.
like this is the place to make mistakes. Like at the end of the day, like if you like don't like if you make a colossal mistake, like it's really like no one's gonna die. Like you're not gonna like get kicked out. Like we will live.
Right.
Like
Right.
and when you make this, I always tell people when they're like, oh my God, I guess like if you make a mistake now, like you're not gonna make it again. Especially like someone like who like I don't know. I'm the kind of person like if I mess up, I'm like, oh my God, like I suck, like oh my God. But like especially like when you're like in high emotion like that, like you're gonna remember like oh my God, I will never do that again because I don't want to feel like this again. So it's the place
Yes.
to learn from those mistakes. Like you learn what not to do. Yeah,
Yeah, like being late, or it's like, don't
absolutely.
do that, and it's like, okay, I'm learning not to do that here so that by the time I do get a job, definitely not going to be late if it's SNL or
Oh,
Good Morning America, because they're
no,
not going to
yeah.
be as nice, unless
On
your
like one
mom
of
is
my
working
first
there or
cruises.
something.
No, literally. On my first cruise, I forgot to put on my headset. I just like it didn't occur to me and I didn't realize we were starting. And then everyone was like, where's Jade? Like she's gotta be a headset. I was doing like teleprompter or something. And I was like, oh my God. And I like the teleprompter was broken. So it like pushed us back. And I was like, oh my God, like I want to die. Like I was like this is not the industry for me. I screwed up so bad. But then
No,
like
yeah.
I was talking to the PM leader and like it's chill, like it's fine, like it's like
You'll be
like
okay.
okay. And like since then like I'm the first one on headset, like you already know.
And it's because of that experience.
It's because of that, like oh I do not want to like have that happen again. Jesus Christ. I like oh my God, I think back and I just like I shiver, I cringe. I'm like oh my God, like that was so bad. Anyway.
Yes. No, yes. For sure. For sure. So yeah, those experiences, it's like, yeah, like it's okay to mess up. Now's the time. Learn here. And then, you'll be better. You'll shine, by the time you get into the
Exactly.
real, industry. In 2021, actor Simu Liu made history as Marvel's first Asian superhero with the film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Chinese American screenwriter Domi Shi's feature film and directorial debut, Turning Red, was the first Pixar film to be solely directed by a woman. I wanted to ask you, do you believe Asian representation in Hollywood is improving?
1,000%. Oh my gosh, yes. I never saw Shang-Chi just because like I'm not really a big fan of Marvel stuff, but I watched Turning Red 1,000 times. Absolutely, especially since I was a kid. Like when I watched Crazy Rich Asians for the first time, for instance, like I cried. It was just like so magnificent. It's just like this like cute like rom-com story that like could appeal to a mass audience, but like the family sitting around the table making dumplings together. That's something I did when I was a kid. Like it's something like it was just so special. And the other night even I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I gotta
Um
see that. I heard that's
it's
really good.
so good. I highly recommend it. I was talking to my brother about it though. And like we were saying like this is how Asian stories should be told. It's like this movie is huge. Everyone's talking about it. And it's just like this like really, really interesting story, but again, it's incorporating these aspects of like our culture that we understand better than anyone else, but like anyone can like appreciate it. Like they're celebrating Chinese New Year in the movie. Like we had some of the same decorations that they had. Like, oh my, like we had those growing up. Like it's that sort of thing. I think that's so important. And like there was not a lot like that, like however many years ago. Now like every
Right.
year or so, there's like a new like movie like this. Like there was like Turning Red last year, and now there's this one. There was like Crazy Rich Asians, like that sort of thing. So 1,000% it's improving, I think, at least from my perspective.
Right, because I like going back to Disney Channel because that was my thing when I was younger. The only Asian like main character, it was her movie. She wasn't a best friend or a side character. Was Brenda Song and Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior. I was like, oh my god, this is
That
so
was my
cool.
favorite movie as a kid for
It's
that
so
exact reason.
cool. You know, I
I
mean it,
I absolutely yes,
and
yes.
it's so important. It's so important for people to see themselves, especially when like they've contributed so much to this country, and they're living here, they're working here, they're thriving. Like let's see their stories represented, and we see so many other people's stories represented, and we're able to relate to them. So producers and executives need to, and also we do sell like people movies with people of color, like predominantly like black or predominantly Asian. We do sell overseas because there was like a myth that like, oh, we can't make this movie with a predominantly Asian cast or black cast or whatever because it's not going to do well in other countries. But that's not true because we see that Black Panther made so much money. Crazy Rich Asians made so much money, you know. So it's like you can don't be afraid to be diverse. Are there any Asian people in entertainment that you look up to, whether that be Asian directors, filmmakers, actors, etc.?
Um, I wish there were more, but the ones that come to mind, like John Chu, he did Crazy Rich Asians. He did In the Heights too, I think.
Yes, yes.
I just enjoy his style. I never like watch interviews of him, but I just like I think it's amazing what he's doing, especially with Crazy Rich Asians, which I love so much. Ali Wong, as silly as it may sound, she's a writer, she's a stand-up comedian, she's a producer, she's an actress. She does it all. She's like, I don't want to say the Asian Mindy Kaling. Mindy Kaling is also an example. Oh my gosh, she does it all. Jesus Christ.
Yes, yes.
But she just does everything. I think that's fantastic, and she's hilarious. I love her. Who else? I don't even know. Like, who else is there? I don't know. I think Ronnie Chang is hilarious. Randall Park also hilarious. I just
These are great people.
that's really what I'm doing here. But no, those
You
are
in your
like the ones that come
career,
to mind. Yeah.
when you do you know what you want to do in your career, and is there someone's career that you follow or like you want
I
to
really
be
don't
like?
know what I want to do. It changes every day.
Okay.
Like I know my strengths. I know what I enjoy. I just need to figure out what I can make into a career and what I can make the most money with.
Yes. That's the
So
truth.
there's not really anyone that I'm like looking up to that I want to follow. It's just kind of like figuring out what I like the most, what's the most profitable, and what I'm strongest at. And that's sort of the next few years is what I gotta
Yeah.
figure out.
Exactly. And finally, my last question: what does being Asian mean to you?
That's a good question. Um, it's hard to like put into words. I don't know. I just like I know that for me personally, it means using my voice and being loud and proud about it. I wasn't necessarily ashamed of it as a kid, but it was something I didn't really think about. And now like I'm conscious of it in every situation I'm in. And it's yeah, just using my skill set and my like privilege and opportunities to use my voice to make things better for other people. Because like we deserve to be in the limelight, man. We're sexy, we're cool. Like I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah, just like being loud and proud, having pride, being hopeful, that sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not letting anyone take that pride away from you, you know?
Yes.
Yes. And not
Yes.
letting people put, nasty stereotypes about your community, and like putting you in a box. And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I totally
I
agree. I
like
love
that.
that. Of course. I love that. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me, Cervantes. This is so fun.
Of course. Where can everyone follow you?
Oh my gosh. My Instagram is at JadeHa, Jade.8. Wait, no. What is it? Okay, at JADEE.HE. I forgot. I don't even know. I don't really use Twitter. Connect with me on LinkedIn, JadeHa.
Yes, yes.
I think that's it.
Awesome.
And
And
follow
be sure
at
to
WRHU Music and WRHU.
I was just about to say that. That's crazy.
And at Heat Network. I gotta start plugging
Yes.
that one too.
Yes. Follow
Yeah.
Heat Network and WRHU Music on Instagram. Like she said, be sure to leave a rating for the Cervantes podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Cervantes podcast YouTube channel and click the notification bell up top so you never miss a new episode. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.